So it's now a couple of weeks after our visit to the swag event down in Chipping Sodbury near Bristol, and another event actually came up. It was on the 18th of February, and in this occasion it was actually much closer to home in a small town, village, not quite sure which it is, near the M25, which is a circle road that goes around London. The town's called Ottershaw. So yeah, it's a small town. It has, it's pretty scenic, some really nice houses there, and you can see this. I think this is actually the golf house of a large golf course. And it gives you an idea of the sort of character of the area. So I decided I was going to visit there, bought some tickets, and on the 18th I headed off down the motorway to Ottershaw. Much shorter journey than last time. Headed down the M25 and then turned off, and it was just a very short journey, literally from the M25, probably a mile. And I arrived at Ottershaw. So here I am. I'm in Ottershaw. It's a little village, town, just outside the M25 in England, near London. And I'm just about to go into the show. It's just up the road here, so join me now as we head into the Kickstart event. These houses are very cute, aren't they? Here we have the Ottershaw Social Club, founded in 1883. This is the village hall on the right. This is where the event is. Let's go in. So the village hall seems to be used for amateur dramatics, so you'll notice that when we go in there's actually a stage at the back there which wasn't actually used for the event. I arrived around 11 AM and as you can see it was already pretty much in full swing by the time I arrived. I had a quick look around the room and it was smaller than the swag event I would say, but yeah, seemed to be quite good vibe going on there. You can see quite a few tables and people have got set up already with their different machines and everybody's having a good old chat, just exchanging information about what they brought and you know what they're going to do on that day, I suppose. So I went round to the back of the room and unlike swag, the sort of bring and buy area was actually right up against the stage there. And there was an Amiga 500 for sale. My friend Vinny was actually at the show again, and it looks like he brought an A500 Plus. So I was quite interested in that. I don't know why, because I've already got an A500, but I suppose you're always interested in, you know, your original Amiga. And there's another Amiga there for sale, boxed. I've got to say the box is in really good condition there. Joystick for sale and a 68060 LC. That's the 68060 that doesn't actually have the FPU in it. And that chip is for sale there. Really quite interesting old tape deck. Joystick. Rob's selling that. Looks like Rob's actually selling quite a few things. Yellow Dreamcast. Yeah, now this was something that I found interesting, and I must admit it left into my bag and actually came back home with me. So yeah, some interesting things for sale there on the table. There was an Apple CD-ROM, but I've already got one of those, so we can see that there's a CD32, very popular machine with the Amiga retro crowd playing away there. We've got an Amiga 600 and a mini Amiga 500 there. I didn't notice that actually at the time. That's sneaked onto the table there. This machine had quite an interesting case, really nice finish, and it's got some kind of scan converter or image conversion device, so I'm quite interested in that. So towards the front of the room I noticed there were a few guys gathered around quite an interesting little machine. So yeah, you know, you can see they're having a discussion, and you can see it looks like there's a little bit of a sort of shrunken Amiga there. And I had a quick look myself, and it looks like somebody's actually done some kind of modeling and 3D printing. So this created a little bit of a buzz at the show. People were very interested in these devices. So I made a note of this, and I thought, you know, let's come back later and have a chat with the guy who's actually produced these, because I think it's amazing what he's actually done. So yeah, mental note, come back and chat to Guy. I had a quick look at the Retro Lemon stall. Retro Lemon was actually present at the swag event, and they're obviously present here as well. Loads of devices. I've actually perused their website because they've got so much interesting stuff for the Atari, the Amiga, I think the 64. Yeah, loads and loads of machines. So they're agnostic actually, and I'm quite like that. I quite like that they supply equipment for so many different platforms. And on the opposite table, I could see there were some monster joysticks. I'd actually met this guy before, Ian. And he was very friendly there. And it looks like, yeah, he's a bit of a monster joysticks nut. So I found that was quite interesting that he'd had so many of them. I carried on and had a look around the rest of the show. And yeah, Vinny was at the show. He had some of his PCBs on display, and he brought his Denise with him again, which is actually sort of refactored Amiga there. It's an interesting machine. I don't really know that much about it, but Vinny seems to be very enthusiastic about it. So it's probably something I need to talk to him about in the future and find out, what's going on with it. And you can see you actually got some 3D printed Amiga logos there, and they were actually supplied free of charge by Retro Lemon. So I thought that was really nice that he was actually handing out these Amiga logos at the show. I'm just looking at his chip tester there, got a bit of envy. So in the back room, Vinny was actually set up for the day to do some soldering. I was looking at his setup here again with a bit of envy. He has, I actually have the same mat actually, but I was looking at his microscope and that looks really cool. So yeah, one day I hope that I can actually have an engineering setup like this. So I decided to go back and talk with Ian and ask him why he had so many monster joysticks, and it turns out that... So I'm here with Ian today, and he is Mr. Monster Joysticks, is that right?
Yep, in the flesh.
Wow, in the flesh, amazing. So I'm just going to show some of Ian's amazing work here. And he was just telling me, we were just looking at this joystick here, that it's actually... The wood surface is actually cut by his own laser cutting machine, right? Made by yourself?
Yes.
In your own garage?
Yes.
And it's not dangerous at all, is it?
Not at all.
No. Okay, that's fantastic. I've got to say, I think this is a fantastic looking joystick. I'm now considering getting one. And how much would this cost, roughly?
Well, the base kit is $74.99.
Yeah.
And then this version with the gunmetal colour is slightly more expensive. I believe it's $78.99.
Okay.
And the wooden panel's an extra, which is another $9.99, I think, off the top of my head. So it's you don't have to have the wooden panel, and you don't have to have the gold button.
And you were saying that it's supplied unfinished, right? You can then finish it yourself with a sort of finish that you want.
Yeah, it's supplied as a bare plywood, and then you can give it a little sand and stain it whatever colour you like if you want to, or you can just leave it as is. It's entirely up to you.
Yeah. That's really cool. I think it's nice that you get to do a bit of customization at the end. Then you were saying this was what, a kit joystick?
That's one of the cheapest kits we offer. This one's $34.99, and it uses our basic range of joysticks and buttons, which are not as high a quality as the Sanwa ones.
Yeah, so this one uses Sanwa,
yeah? Yeah. They're still very, very much usable, and like I say, they're just not as industry renowned as these ones.
Yeah, so. Cool. All right, and this one, I think you were saying this one is actually a Sanwa joystick.
Yeah, that's Sanwa again as well. This is one of the newest ones we've released. This is our Micro, which is sort of it's kind of a hark back to the micro joysticks you get, maybe like a Competition Pro style or Zip Stick or something.
I used to have one, Competition Pro.
Yeah.
I've been looking around for one, but I think I'll get one of these actually.
Yeah. And we can do any of these where we can have the buttons in either button 1 or 2 either way around. And these larger ones you can have them cut with a joystick on either side, so I can do it either way around.
And the second button is what, mapped to up, you were saying in some games?
You can change it, so you can toggle the switch at the back and then map it to up if you want to, or just leave it as a 2-button joystick.
Yeah. Cool. Well, that's amazing. I definitely think I might be in the I don't know whether I should go for one of these or one of these. Thing is, I'm not sure if I got the space for this, although I do like the finish on it. It does look fantastic. Yeah.
That's mainly why the smaller one is available, to be a little bit more compact for people as well.
Yeah. Great. Okay. Well, fantastic. Thank you for speaking to us.
No problem at all. Thank you.
Thank you. And I headed back over to those mini Amigas again. And in the background there, you can see Chris. He's actually the organizer of this show. So we've got to say thanks to him for setting up this really great meet. And yeah, I'm hovering around the mini Amigas again. I don't know, I just think they're a little bit intoxicating. I actually got into VFX because I was interested in modeling things. I suppose it stemmed from model railways and things like that from when I was a child. So I really have quite an interest actually in models like this, and I find it fascinating. They're looking really great, and it's funny that this little Amiga actually does work. Went to have a look at this, what is it, Scan Converter or something? It's got Saturn on there, audio out, VGA out, HDMI out. So I need to do a little bit of research on this, GBS C, and actually see what this device is, because I'm actually in the market for one of these. Nearby, there was actually a 3D printer going. I had a quick chat with the guys. Apparently I think this machine cost them about $350. This is definitely something I'd like to get in the future. I just don't have any room at home right now to actually have a 3D printer, but it's something I'm definitely interested in. And to be honest, I've wanted a 3D printer pretty much since they came out. So hopefully, maybe towards the end of this year, I'll actually have some space and I'll actually be able to get a 3D printer. And yeah, I think I'll have a little burst of creativity when that happens. So I decided to pop back and have a chat with the guy who was making the little Amiga models. And that was a very interesting chat. So this is Lee, and he's new to the 3D printing realm, but he's been working on a range of what I think look absolutely amazing 3D prints. So this is a bit of a shocker. Here we go. This is what, 1084? No, this is a different one.
1701 Mini.
1701 Mini.
Yeah, Commodore 1701 monitor.
Monitor, and it's actually running. Where's the video actually coming from? It's coming from a USB stick.
It's just running. It's got the 8-inch LCD with a built-in media player, and the memory stick there is running the video, the build video for it.
Yeah. Right next to it, you've got a 1541 drive.
Yep, same thing. That's running 3D printed with a 3.25-inch floppy disk.
So it's actually functional.
Yeah, a functional PC floppy disk, but USB.
Okay.
That just plugs into the 64 Mini.
64 Mini
and
well.
works like a USB drive to load your games off.
Wow, that's incredible. And this monitor is the same as the previous one?
Yeah, this was the first prototype, and this is the second one I built. Hence, it's got better features like the USB player.
And I'll show you one more machine at the end there, but you're actually printing them out white like this, so they're plain when they're actually produced, right?
Yes, I mean, ultimately you could download and print the design in the PLA that you want to print it in, but I've got white PLA and I've been priming and painting it myself with this spray paint. It gets the nice matching Commodore beige finish and matte finish that looks.
So are you planning to do this sort of guide online? Are you going to do like a website, or is this just for your own use?
Yeah, I mean, this is on my YouTube channel, Noodles Music. There's the build videos for these machines are on there.
We'll have to put a link in the video to that. Yeah.
Yes, if you would like, that'd be lovely. Thank you.
Yeah. And then the star of the show, I think, is the A3000.
Yep,
and it's an A500 actually running an A500.
It's an A500 Mini motherboard. With essentially 3000 case, and just like the 1701, it's a 1084 monitor. But still running the same panel inside, and they've all got custom-made glass cathode ray tube look kind of screens.
It's quite funny because when you see this, you think it may be possibly just a sticker or something, but in fact, there you go.
No,
you can actually see it's actually fully functional.
Fully running workbench, and you can whatever and open up things and.
It's so funny, isn't it, seeing it tiny like that?
Yep, it all works. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of the native Amiga workbench is kind of nice for this resolution. It's 1024 by 768.
Yeah.
And running Mini Amiga is the package. And if I just show you, that's all on the back there. There's a tiny little USB port. Yeah. All the USB ports, and that little USB stick.
I think it's really cool the way you've got the grill there for the actual power supply.
Well, I've tried as much as possible to make it a complete 50% authentic
as much recreation as you can. Yeah.
So everything works, even the power and hard drive
and
lights.
And you've got the screws on the side, I noticed. Where
Well, it all unscrews. Yes.
Yeah.
So it's all 3D printed, but I've painted it silver to look like metal.
Which was the most recent of these that you actually did?
This one's the one I've just finished. A couple of weeks ago, I just finished.
Do you have any plans to do any more?
Yeah, the next one I'm looking at doing is going to be a SX64.
All right, okay. Yeah. So the Commodore 64 portable. Yeah.
Yes, so that's if you want to. There we go. So that's kind of what I'm working on.
So that's your prototype right now.
The next, it's just a plan at this point. I haven't printed anything yet, but I've bought the screen and.
Do you own one of these?
I've never owned an SX64 in real life. No.
How are you making it as a modeler?
I'm modeling it in 3D Studio Max.
Are you doing it by eye, just looking at it?
No, I get a lot of. You can get. There's incredible resources online for the dimensions of everything. So I've copied all the dimensions off online and built the model. So hang on, so it's a.
I see. Okay.
It's a 3D model there to build.
Fantastic.
And then I've got to work out the insides of how the motherboard and the screen and everything mounts in there. Yeah. And all the different extension leads to run the USB power and USB ports. And so it'll be a few weeks of work.
All right, well, thanks for that, Lee.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Fantastic little overview there of your 3D prints. I think they're amazing.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
David Pleasance was at the show again, and he's got a new book, which he's working on at the moment. So a few guys were gathered around to have a look at that.
So I've gone to the RetroLemon stall, and the owner of RetroLemon is Jakob here.
Hello.
He's just going to run us through what he's actually got on the stall here today. So,
Yes.
Jakob, could you run us through what you've got, please?
Yes, of course. I have some stuff for Commodores and Amigas today.
Yeah.
Let's start with the C64 and Commodore 8-bit stuff.
Okay.
We have some stuff in here. First of all, we have a Kung Fu Flash cartridge, which is SD loading solution for the C64 and C128.
Yeah.
This can be used as a cartridge. It's not a serial connection. It's through the cartridge. You can load it with the SD card. You just plug in SD card here.
Yeah.
This is a DIN 6 to S-Video and composite adapter for Commodore 64.
Yeah.
This is swing seat, so this is emulating a seat chip.
It's replacement for a SID,
Replacement, yes.
Yeah.
This is a PLA replacement for Commodore 64.
The PLA is one of those chips that goes quite a lot, isn't
Yes,
it?
that's very common fault.
And you can't obviously get them anymore. Yeah.
Correct,
Yeah.
yes. But they are quite simple, so it's easy to build them.
Yeah.
This is C502 plus 4. This is an expansion for Commodore plus 4, which replaces the CPU and also as memory. This is memory expansion as well.
Yeah.
Here we have a MIST and the SCART cable for MIST. MIST is a project which is older than MiSTer, and this is a emulator, FPGA emulator for number of systems, but mainly it is for the Amiga and Atari ST, and it's very accurate, much more accurate than
I have a MiSTer, myself,
Yes, but this is an original project what MiSTer came out
Developed from,
But this one for the Amiga and Atari ST is the most accurate emulator on FPGA you can get.
Cool, yeah.
Small parts. This is a springs for the keyboard for Amiga.
I've seen those zinging off,
Yeah, this is a DB23 connector, so if you want to build your own video cable for Amiga.
I've done that myself,
Oh, that's pesky task to solve.
Yeah, I've done it,
This is a power plug for Amiga and also Commodore 128, because this is the same square plug.
Yeah.
If you want to replace a plug on your power supply.
Yeah.
You have a bunch of cables in here. These are IDE with 2 or 1
This is
connection.
a 2.5-inch ID, isn't it? I think.
Yes, this is 44-pin connector. In here you have a floppy cable. This is a standard floppy cable, and this is extension for the floppy cable. So if you want to put your drive outside of the Amiga, for
Outside
example,
the machine,
you can use it. This one and this one are the emulators for the floppy drive.
Yeah.
These are not GOTEX. These are HXC, which are the alternative projects. The good thing about them is that they are emulating much more sophisticated formats of the images.
Yeah.
That means that if you have some exotic computer which uses their format, which is not common, this can be emulated on this
This
machine.
one is obviously internal, but this is meant to be used externally, is it?
Yes, this is external one. You have, of course, the floppy connector in here and power, but this is to be used outside. And unlike the GoTech, it uses the SD card rather than the USB pen drive for that. Going further, we have a Amsider, which is a just 44-pin connector for the Amiga 600 and 1200 with the SD card adapter, so you can use SD card instead of the hard drive.
I've just done a big video on hard drive solutions.
Yeah.
So I went through all of these. Compact flash, micro SD, Blue SCSI, and also SATA to ID as well. Trying out all the different options. Yeah, so it's quite interesting.
This is the 1 meg chip expansion for Amiga 600, and this is the same thing with the 2 different cooling solutions. These are the accelerators for Amiga 600, featuring Motorola 68020 processor, 9.5 meg of fast RAM, and also RTC clock and coprocessor FPU. And in here we have a boot selector for Amiga 500 and 2000. That's a standard Amiga SCART cable, so you can connect older type
I think
of the
I have
monitor.
one of these, yeah.
Yes, this is the Joy extender, so you can have a longer cable for the joystick.
Yeah.
This is like a solution for the PyStorm to connect the SD card, USB port, and HDMI into Amiga 1200 with the PyStorm. You can use it externally, so you don't. These are providing you the external connectors for everything.
Yeah.
We have standard power supplies for Commodore 64, and this is for Amiga CD32, but this can be also used with the floppy drive 1541. It can be used with the Commodore A590, which is a CD-ROM for
I've got one
Amiga.
of those. Actually, I've got a CD-ROM, and I might need to get one of those, actually.
Okay.
Because the guy said it wasn't working. It's possible the power supply actually went, yeah.
Yes,
so that could be a good replacement.
This is a recycling of the old power supplies that Commodore has done, from the floppy drive to the
The power supply on that particular unit is incredibly light.
Yeah.
It feels like it's a very empty box. So, yeah.
Fine. This is the USB to DB9 adapter, so you can connect it to your Windows PC, and you can play your standard Amiga and Atari joysticks on the PC with the emulators. That's 512 kilobytes expansion.
How much is that going for? How much is that selling for?
Oh my God, I don't remember exactly.
I can't remember. Okay, yeah. I need to get one. That's all. Yeah.
Yes, you can see on the website.
On the website, yeah.
Yes, this is Amiga 500 and 500 plus 2 megabytes cheap expansion.
Yeah.
But it requires the motherboard version 8 of Amiga 500.
Is that a much later revision? Or?
This is the latest revision.
Latest revision, okay.
Yes, so that works with that. This is a standard SD expander, so this is to connect the card externally.
Like I said earlier, I would love to have one of these with a bracket for the back of like a big box Amiga, because that's what.
Have a look at that.
Yeah,
yes.
that would be cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now we are going to the SCART switches. These are named Hydra.
Yeah.
There are several versions of that, as you see. Hydra. This is Hydra Mini, which is 5 inputs and 1 output. This is Hydra, which is having 8 inputs and 1 output, and this is Hydra 2, which has 8 inputs but 2 outputs. So to the second output, you can connect things like a projector or grabber or anything that.
So it's the same output, but it's split into 2 different SCARTs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's making like a dual monitor. You can have two outputs out of your old computers.
Mirroring the display, yeah.
Yes, the other bit is that this and these can be expanded by another 8 or 16 inputs, so you can have even up to 24 inputs on the Hydra.
Okay, yeah.
And the last thing is a Medusa, which is a scan doubler, which converts an old 15 kilohertz signal into the DVI, but it can be easily converted to the HDMI because this DVI comes out with the audio as well. So with a simple adapter, you can have a connector to the HDMI monitor as well. And this is where you have all the stuff in my Amiga 600.
So you're just demonstrating there actually some of the stuff in use. Yeah.
That's it.
That's fantastic, Jakob. Thank you for running us through all your different products there.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
So there we go, the Ottershaw Kickstart event. And I found it quite interesting because there was Retro Lemon there. It's quite interesting to talk to him and see what he had on display. Lee modeling the mini Amigas. I thought that was a really fascinating project that he had going on there. And I found it really cool to actually put a face to a name. You know, Monster Joysticks has been, or was actually, a staple sponsor on Retro Man Cave for a number of years. And yeah, it was quite funny to actually have a chat with Ian at actually a couple of other events. And then obviously then he turns out that he's actually Mr. Monster Joysticks. So yeah, it turns out obviously in the retro community it's quite a small world, isn't it? This event was obviously a lot easier for me to visit than the Swag event all the way down in Bristol. It was definitely good. I really enjoyed it. It was very nice to chat with the people there and have a look at what was going on. At the end of the day, I left a happy person, so that's good. And it was nice to see different machines then. I think the main thing is when you go to these events is actually the people, you know, when you get to have a chat with people, exchange your sort of experiences and your history. It was really great to have a chat with people about things like that. I'm not sure when the next event is going to be. I do know that they are Ottershaw Kickstart, I should say, they are going to have another event on the 22nd of June this year. This event is actually a barbecue, and they don't have actually many places left. So you should probably get in there straight away if you want to actually go to that event. I might actually book a table because it's quite nice to actually have something on display. The two events that I've been to so far, I haven't actually taken anything along. So I feel like maybe on the next event, I should take one of the machines, maybe from one of the videos, or something else. Maybe I'll take the Silicon Graphics or something like that. Something unusual maybe to let people experience. So yeah, definitely if you can, pop along to this event if there are spaces left. I'll hopefully see you there. And until the next video, I think that's it. Obviously, if you enjoyed this video, please click on the like button. And if you did like the video, then obviously please subscribe to the channel if you can. Would love to see you back in the future to see other videos like this. So yeah, hopefully I'll see you again in future videos. And until then, take care.